Alright folks, so the Batman finally came out. It is easily my most anticipated movie of this year, and holy crap, it was everything I wanted it to be. So the Batman is the newest Batman movie, and it stars Robert Pattinson, which from when I first heard it, I thought it was a brilliant idea to cast Robert Pattinson as like a younger Batman. I don't know why people are still hating on the fact that he was, in Twilight. Like that's bull crap. Like, so what? He made a couple of bad movies. Everybody's made a couple of bad movies. That doesn't mean you're gonna be a bad Batman. And let's just get one thing straight. Robert Pattinson, he completely nailed it as Batman. So based on the trailers, you can probably tell that this is a much darker Batman, in a way closer to like the Nolan films, which is great because I believe everybody loves the Nolan films. I love Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises. It's a great trilogy, let's be honest. But this movie, directed by Matt Reeves, is really going for more of a detective kind of film, which is awesome because we've seen a little detective work going on here and there between like every Batman film. But this one really nails it down, This one is mainly a detective film. And one thing that I love about it is that you really get to see Batman in costume for the majority of the movie. It's really a Batman movie with very little Bruce Wayne in it, which I think, it's nice. I don't mind seeing Bruce Wayne. I don't have anything against the Bruce Wayne character, but it's nice seeing a movie that really focuses on Batman and shows you how good of a detective he actually is. So in this new take of Batman, he's trying to find out who the Riddler is. The Riddler's been committing a couple of murders around Gotham, and it's up to Batman and Gordon to figure out who the Riddler is and like who his next victim is so they can stop him. Now let's get one thing straight. The entire cast is phenomenal. Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman, Robert Pattinson as Batman, Jeffrey Wright, Commissioner Gordon, Colin Farrell as the Penguin. It's all great. And then like the one I was most excited about was Paul Dano as the Riddler. I love Paul Dano. Seeing him in like Prisoners, There Will Be Blood. He is, to me, as soon as I heard he was gonna be the Riddler, I got even more excited. And like as you can tell, I just couldn't wait to see like the Riddler. I got damn Funko Pops. I used to don't even buy Funko Pops, but I started buying Funko Pops because of the Riddler. Got a couple of posters, a Riddler poster over there. I bought the mask. Like I love the look of the Riddler. I love the way he sounded in the trailers, and I just couldn't wait to see more of him in the movie itself. And while I'll be honest, he wasn't in it as much as I was hoping he'd be in there. I was hoping he was going to be in it for like a huge chunk of the movie, and he has a few small parts throughout the entire movie, so he's always in the movie, but he's played in like the background for a good chunk of it, and then he gets the foreground more towards the end. And I was kind of hoping to see him shine a little more, but from what we did see, I loved every bit of it. Paul Dano did amazing with like the voice. Oh, I love that voice. That voice was amazing. I just loved hearing it. How crazy and psychotic he sounded throughout the entire movie. It was just awesome. Another great thing is the score. I love that score. I was listening as soon as we got like the Batman theme song. I wouldn't stop listening to it. As soon as we got the Riddler theme song, I wouldn't stop listening to it. Even the Catwoman theme song, it is also awesome. I love it. It just has like this like old noir, just romance kind of thing to it with like her and Batman, which is awesome. I forgot to mention Alfred, played by Andy Serkis. Like, he was also phenomenal, but he was in it very little, which, it's a little disappointing, but for what he was in, he played an awesome role. I love the Batman costume. One thing that I wasn't so sure about was like, the cowl and the ears. There's something about the ears that looked a little flimsy, like you can just kind of like play with them and move them around. But like in the movie, it actually looked really good, and I got used to it quickly, and I didn't even notice it by like the beginning of the movie. As soon as he showed up, as soon as that first scene where you see Batman in his costume, you're like, nah, this guy's a badass. This guy, he's a threat. The criminals are actually afraid of this Batman. They really don't want to do any kind of crime when, that light hits the sky. Like I said, it's, it's not just a call, it's a warning, and those criminals get scared. Those criminals get terrified, and it's awesome. Now, the movie is 3 hours long, and, to some people, that may be a bad thing. To people that aren't Batman fans, that may be a bad thing. But to me, I absolutely love the fact that it was 3 hours long. It's just more Batman. Give me more Batman. I really don't mind. I'm never going to complain about a 3 hour long Batman movie. Like a 3 hour long solo Batman movie where it's just Batman, I'm okay with that. Like it's Batman. Now throughout the movie, you get Batman working with Commissioner Gordon for the most part, and a little bit of Selina Kyle, and it's really just him trying to find out like who the next victim is, who the Riddler is, and that's really what you get. And then throughout the story, you get these clues that lead, like one clue leads to another, which like keeps following along, and it's all like this, like in a way like a domino effect, where like the Riddler, he knew what he was doing from the start, and it's just the way it's executed in the movie. It's just brilliantly, like I can't say more about this movie that every other review hasn't said. This movie is awesome. You really have to go watch it for yourself. If you haven't even purchased your ticket already, I've seen it twice already. I wanted to see it twice. I knew as soon as I saw it the first time I was going to want to watch it again, so I quickly like bought 2 tickets on the first day that it was released. The story's phenomenal, the characters are phenomenal. I would say the Batmobile is fucking phenomenal. You know, when I saw it, it looked badass, but I was like, okay, so how much can this Batmobile actually do? Because clearly it's not the Tumbler or the Batmobile that Ben Affleck's Batman used. So I was worried. I was like, oh, in a way, is it gonna be like weaker? Are the scenes not gonna be as cool with that Batmobile? And that one Batmobile that shows in the trailer with the penguin that we've all seen already is freaking amazing. When that Batmobile starts, when you hear that engine start, like the theater that I went to, it was just, you know, obviously every theater is like surround sound, but holy crap, you can hear that. Like, everybody was scared. Like, all the criminals, when that Batman turned on that car, all the criminals were frightened. Now, do I have any issues with the movie? I can't really say I have any issues with the movie. You know, people are saying 3 hours, you know, it's a little too long. People are saying, oh, I could cut off a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there, cut off like 20, 30 minutes. And even if I went with that argument, I would think, but where can I cut off 20, 30 minutes? Like, it's all one big story. There's just not much to cut. Like, I don't know where I would cut anything out. One thing I would say is, if you're not a huge Batman fan, I do believe you will be confused with some aspects of this movie. This movie's in year 2 of Batman, so by that time you already have his origin story, which is one thing we all already know. Everybody, like even the casual fans, know his origin story. But there's a few characters that aren't really shown in the trailer that have a bigger role than I thought they would have, based on the fact that they weren't shown in the trailers. They play a much bigger role in this movie. I feel like with those characters, the casual viewers won't really understand much, because it is a huge story. The first scene to the last scene, everything's connected. It all makes sense, you know, it's all meant to be there. So really, you kind of really have to be paying attention at all times, because if you blink, you go use the bathroom, you're gonna miss a clue, you're gonna miss some evidence that Batman finds, you're gonna miss something. So I suggest, you know, like, you gotta hold your pee in, man. Like, that is a 3-hour movie, but you want to watch every second of it. I love the way that they made Batman feel like a threat. I like his suit, his armor. His armor was really nice. You know, he actually takes a lot of gunshots in this movie, which kind of like, I don't know how I feel about that, because I do see him, like, for my version of Batman, and we all have our own different version of Batman, but I kind of like when he's more like in the shadows. And you get scenes like that where he's in the shadows and he's like sneaking around, but there are a lot of times where he like charges at his opponent. I feel like it'd be cooler if, you know, he's like snuck his way around and like ended up behind his opponents somehow, you know, just doing like this casual Batman ninja stuff, when like a lot of the times he really just charges at them. He takes the gunshots and he just beats the crap out of them, which, you know, it's cool, but I don't know. I mean, like, how many times are you gonna do that before, you know, one of the shots actually gets lucky? All in all, I can't say just like how much I love this movie from the start. You know, those first 10 minutes, I was like, this might be the best Batman movie ever. And will I say it was the best Batman movie ever? I don't know. Like I said, I've seen it twice, which is quite a few times. I've seen it like back to back each day, but I'm not sure. I feel like I still have to watch it more times to really decide if it's better than, you know, like the Dark Knight trilogy, which is, you know, the only one you're really going to compare it to. Maybe some of the early like Tim Burton movies as well, for those people that grew up with that. But to me, it really gave me everything I wanted. It was a beautiful detective film that almost felt like a horror movie at times, and it really did feel like a horror movie at times. Like, some of the stuff that the Riddler does, you know, it really pushes like the boundaries of PG-13, which was awesome. I was kind of worried once I heard it was PG-13, because I was like, oh, then, you know, obviously I don't need Batman to be rated R, but like the Riddler, I feel like he would have been maybe a little more scary if he was rated R. But no, like the PG-13, it's fine. Like what the Riddler does in this movie with the PG-13 rating, I mean, they get away with it. They get away with a lot of the stuff that they do. It's scary, it's brilliant, and that just shows you that you don't need like blood and gore to really make something scary. You can do like a lot of scary things with just a PG-13 rating, and the Riddler delivers. I love the Riddler. You know, obviously, you can tell, you know, he's not my favorite Batman villain. He just like worked his way up there, like close to one of my favorites Batman villains now because of this movie. I always liked like the concept of the Riddler and his whole thing that, you know, he does like the Riddlers and all that stuff, and I love like listening to the Riddlers. And one thing that was really cool is like throughout this movie, Batman was kind of like, these riddles, he was solving them pretty quickly, and, you know, it kind of just shows you like, yeah, he's the world's greatest detective for a reason. He's gonna solve these riddles. I love this movie. You know, I want to watch it again. You know, I might go watch it again in the theaters, or I might just wait for HBO Max, because I know it's coming out in like a month, so who knows, we'll see. But, you know, if I'm feeling it, I'll probably watch it again in the movie theaters. I love this movie. You need to go watch it. If you're a Batman fan, you gotta watch it. You know, if you're a casual fan, I understand why like the 3 hours might be a little too much for you if you're not into Batman like that. I'd still recommend watching it, of course. But if you're a Batman fan, let's be honest, you already got your ticket. You're gonna go see it if you haven't seen it already. It's a must if you're a Batman fan. Go watch this movie. I can't wait to get like the Steelbook version. Hopefully Best Buy has a really nice cover of the Steelbook, because I am definitely buying that like on the first day. I'm gonna pre-order that. There's no way I'm not. And I'm definitely gonna watch it again, you know, third time as soon as it goes to HBO Max, or I might just watch it in theaters again. Who knows how I'm feeling, but definitely go watch. This whole detective thing, it might not be for everybody, but it's so well done. You know, Matt Reeves like absolutely nailed it. Even if you're not into detective films and you want like more action, which it has action, but it's really more of a detective film. Even if you're not into that stuff, I think you're still gonna like it, because it's just such a good story. Such a good story from start to finish. And as always, thanks again for watching. It really means a lot to me. And I really hope you like this movie, which I think you will.